Hi, welcome to my May reading wrap up. I did read a bunch and I read some thick stuff and I will just get into it. Let's start with the book I don't have physically because I don't have my notes in front of me. I literally am not even going to remember star ratings for most of these. The one that I didn't have physically, I read through audio at my library, was A Long and Speaking Silence by Nghi. This is book 7, I think, in the Singing Hills cycle. I love this series. It is one of my favorite series going on right now. It is a fantasy series of novellas. We follow Cleric Chi and their companion, Almost Brilliant, who is a bird, who go around having adventures and learning about different cultures and learning stories of different cultures. Singing Hills is a monastery that is about collecting stories of the world. This one is actually a prequel, which follows Chi when they were a very, very, very new cleric. One of the first times they've been out on their own, and we follow them as they're in this small town that is starting to have an influx of refugees from an island, and we deal with them, their confidence in being a cleric, and we deal with a lot of very timely discussion of refugees and the way people think about them and stuff like that. It was good. I think part of it for me that kind of knocked things down for me is that it didn't feel like there was a real ending to this one. Just kind of ended without any, and I don't need there to be a big resolution or anything, but this one particularly felt like it just kind of ended, and that was that. There's nothing. There's no emotional kind of wrap up for me in this one, which kind of brought it down. But as always, I always enjoy my time with these, and I'm excited for next year's entry. Now, I know I finished this one first in the month because I've been reading it for too long, and no one is as disappointed as me in giving this 3 stars. This is This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me by Ilona Andrews. I thought when I bought this, because I love Ilona Andrews, I love an isekai fantasy, I thought this was going to be easy 5 stars. I thought I was going to get it and read it in 48 hours. It took me almost a month to read this. I have it on audio as well. I think what I eventually realized as this book went through, and I was trying to figure out what wasn't quite working for me the whole time that I was listening to the audio. And I think the audio exposed a lot of it for me, is that so much of this book is explaining everything. And if you don't know, an isekai is when a character is pulled into another world. It's kind of like a portal fantasy. It's a version of portal fantasy that became very popular in manga, light novels, in manhwa. I do love an isekai. There's a specific type of isekai that I like. And I love Ilona Andrews. Their writing always works for me. So in this one, Maggie is our main character. She gets pulled into the world of her absolute top tier favorite book series. Maggie knows everything about this book series. She's read it hundreds of times. She is obsessed with every single detail in this book. She remembers everything about this book series. So she can go in, and this is where a lot of the issues lay for me, is that as she is trying to survive and figure out how she's going to survive, she'll meet a character, and to prove that she knows stuff, she'll just say, well, you did this, and then you went and did this, and then you felt this, and you thought this, and da-da-da. And it's basically just blurbing exposition for a character. It felt like Maggie was doing a lot of telling, and thus the narrative was doing a lot of telling and not showing to me. And I just, it wasn't working for me. And I don't know, it's so much of what Maggie's when we know about knowledge of the book series, because Maggie knows it, it's because she's telling someone their life from the book series. And half the time, yes, Maggie is in the narrative in her mind. She is, talking about the book series and what happens, etc. But there's so much where she's just laying out every single effing thing and movement and thought and emotion and feeling that these characters have to their faces. It just wasn't working. It didn't feel organic for me, which really upset me. I just, like I said, nobody's more upset than I am that I didn't give this 5 stars and didn't love this to the earth and back. Just disappointment all around for me. I did still enjoy the last half. I was enjoying my time with it. There was a twist about 50% through that I was oh, okay, that is a good that is a good take on an isekai story like this. That was really good. But then it kind of goes into this place with Maggie and this one character, and it's kind of romancy, but I didn't feel it whatsoever. So yeah. 3 stars. I am very upset that I didn't love this the way I wanted to. I really, 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 really thought I was going to absolutely love this. I really did. It's still very pretty. Okay, next, something I did love, The Red Winter by Cameron Sullivan. This took me by surprise how much I was enjoying it. This is a historical fantasy horror, and typically I don't really jive with like historical fiction at all. This takes place in historical France in, I believe, let's find out because the dates are here. Basically late 1700s historical France is the bulk of the story. We follow this character. He has a demon writing in his brain. We don't really know how they're bonded or why, but they've been together for thousands of years. And we've followed the story of him in late 1700s France when he goes to the town of Gévaudan in France. And there is this great beast that is terrorizing the countryside. And this is actually based on a real historical story that happened. But then there is the question of what the beast is. And then he has a kind of... he has a romance with the young lord of this area. I'll keep it at that because there's so much to this story. There's about 3 different timelines. Yes, I know, 3 different timelines, yes, but they do blend together. They're all important to each other. I was flying through this. The first night I read it, I read like 100 pages. It's so funny. It's so interesting. It has a really interesting take on religion tied in with magic. I liked it. The only thing I say I would not like is everything about Sebastian. Is his name Sebastian? Yeah. Everything about Sebastian, like with the romance, I was just like, this is one of those things where it's like, this man was thinking with his dick the whole entire time in this romance. And so many times I'm just like, why would you make that decision? That is a horrible decision to make for a man who's been alive for thousands of years and has a demon in him who is telling him he's making a terrible decision. So many decisions he made because he's supposedly like really fallen in love with this man. It was really irritating, first of all. But also like it didn't feel like that was the kind of decision making Sebastian would do, especially because we do see him in other timelines. So it just felt a little off. But other than that, I have no complaints. This was so good. I think this has been getting some hype and has been slowly like gaining traction, and people are realizing how good it is. And more people need to read it. It is so good. I really think people should get their hands on this and give it a try. This is going to count for my r/fantasy bingo square for the, I think it's 2026 novel released in 2026, and hard mode it's basically a debut novel, which this counts for. Okay, next I read 2 novellas in one day. I took a train trip into downtown LA. Sometimes I just like to go to Little Tokyo and walk around and get some food. So I basically read 1 novella on the way there and 1 novella on the way back. So first, I finally read Nobody's Baby by Olivia Waite. This is the 2nd book in the Dorothy Gentleman novella series. This is a sci-fi murder mystery series set on a generation ship. You know how much I love that sub-niche. So this was a lot of fun. I gave it 4 stars, mainly because, honestly, I don't remember why I gave it just 4 stars. It didn't feel like the heights of the 5 stars that I felt with the first book, Murder by Memory, but it's still good. I think I gave it 4.5. In this one, everything on this generation ship is very controlled. Nobody's supposed to be able to have children, but a baby shows up in some fashion. And the question is, why? Where'd the baby come from? How was the baby conceived and born? And Dorothy's nephew, Ruthie, the baby ended up on his doorstep. It's quite fun. It's really interesting seeing like the mystery itself gives you way more world building for the lives that everybody is leading on this generation ship, the way the ship is set up, the way society has been set up because of how they have to live to survive on the generation ship. So in terms of like the mystery, like actually informing the world building. Really well done. I have a lot of fun with this. I don't have a lot else to say. I really like the series. Next, and this is going to count for my r/fantasy bingo square for title. Like, just pick a book because of its title. I will say that I'm counting it because I went to the library and I picked this blind. I was just looking for books on the shelves. Sometimes I just go and just look at books on the shelves, and this title jumped out at me. Now, I did look at the back briefly to see what kind of book it was, saw that it was like a sci-fi speculative book, and that's it. So I don't think it's going to count for hard mode because I did look at the back of it, but I am counting it for read a book because of the title. So this is The Glass Garden by Jessica Lévai. This is a sci-fi novella about a pair of sisters. One is kind of like a salvager and the other is an archaeologist, and the salvager sister brings her archaeologist on this new mission where she has discovered this interesting artifact on a planet that was once colonized, and then the colonists disappeared. They left. And then, weird stuff starts to happen with the artifact. So it was 3 stars. It did the job. I think what I didn't quite like about this was a lot of the writing felt like there was a lot more to the relationships in the story that wasn't being presented on the page. So like the sisters would be talking, and then for no reason whatsoever, one would be super mad at the other. Like there's this part where, so the archaeologist sister has never been on a mission with her sister. They have a very small crew. It's like 5 people. They all go out to see the artifact. One person is left on the ship. No, they all go out, and then the next day they separate. One goes to like the old colony. The others go back to the cave. The archaeologist sister goes back to the cave to look at the artifact. She comes back early with the guy that she's with, and then her sister comes back, and they're sitting in the kitchen talking, and the sister was like, "Where is character?" And the archaeologist sister is like, "Oh, I don't know." And her sister gets mad at her for not checking in on him when they got back to the ship, like genuinely upset. She's like, this is how this is what we do. We take care of each other. It's like, your sister's never fucking been on a mission. She's met these people for the first time. She doesn't know how things go. Like, why the fuck are you mad? And then archaeologist sister just takes it. It's like, oh, maybe I'm not a good person. What the fuck? Like the emotional beats didn't make sense between characters. So that really bothered me, especially the sisters. Like, they had their own issues, the way they thought about the way, their parents think about them and how they think about each other in their lives. There's a lot of like tangled, weird emotions between them. But when they're actually talking face to face and they get mad at each other for reasons that make no fucking sense. Yeah. So, interesting sci-fi novella. Would I recommend it? I mean, no, not really. I'm not mad that I read it. I'm not upset that I read it. It's just kind of, it exists. So that's a big square for me. Then lastly, I just finished last night. This is a 5-star. This is Slow Gods by Claire North. This is such an interesting, weird book. So where do I even start? This is set in very far-flung future, where there are all these different societies and civilizations in space. We have vaguely human civilizations, we have mechanical civilizations, and our main character grows up in a civilization that is very, what's the word? You are locked into your part in society and there's no real way to get past it. Now, something happens to them. They end up not dying, and they can't die. And at the start of this book, there is this creature thing, civilization, maybe, who knows? Nobody knows what it is. It's called the Slow. And it announces to a bunch of civilizations that are near this binary star system that the binary stars are going to explode and these civilizations, these planets, they have 100+ years before the remnants of that explosion comes through their planets to destroy their planets. We follow the different civilizations and how they deal with it. Some completely ignore it. Some try desperately to relocate and save as much of their civilization as they can. And there's a lot of interaction with different civilizations. And our main character, Ma, is just kind of flitting around in the midst of all of this. Ma does have some importance to all of these people for a very specific reason, and I actually will not say what that reason is, because that reason, I think, learning it as the story goes, there's a kind of like, that's half of the joy I had in this, was like the slow unraveling of figuring out who and what and why Ma is. I thought that was so interesting. This is absolutely, I picked this up because Angela from Literature Science Alliance really enjoyed this, and a lot of people say that it counts for the r/fantasy unusual transportation square. Yes, hard mode too. Yes, unusual transportation. I will not say what it is, because the learning that is also half the joy of this. This is also very, very philosophical. I was genuinely happily surprised by that. It is also very character focused. This is, as much as like the plot I described, this is not really a plot heavy book. Like, the plot does drive it, but it's not like there is a specific storyline that is being followed. There is, but it's not like a tight storyline. It's a very blown out storyline that is affecting all these civilizations across hundreds of years, 100 years, I should say. But essentially, it's a character study, it's a society study, it's a philosophical study. It is a study of how different beings love and live and interact with their world and with history, how they view history, how they view each other, interact with each other. And yeah, I really, 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 really liked this. I was surprised at how much I liked it, because I would say, like, on the genre to literary scale, this is hovering. This one's weird, because I think the way it's written feels more literary, but this is so genre. Like, everything about it is so genre. This is definitely, you could not say this is not genre sci-fi, but it feels very literary. My arm's hurting. So, I really liked it. I really, really, really liked it. I will have to say, I've seen some reviews on Goodreads that talk about all the neo-pronouns in this book. And yeah, it does make your brain stutter for a moment when you get to the neo-pronouns, but it's the whole book. And eventually, as you keep reading and, you know, the more that they're in the book, you just kind of your brain picks a way to pronounce a neo-pronoun, and you just go with it. There's still times where my brain would still like kind of slow down when it got to a neo-pronoun, but it's part of the book. It's part of the book. It's part of society. It's part of all these cultures. And, you know, there are times where neo-pronouns are explained, and a lot of them make sense. So I like this a lot. I really like this a lot. I think people should give it a chance, but if you aren't feeling it in the first like 50 pages because of the writing, because of whatever's going on, I think that's a good indicator of how the rest of the book is going to go. So just listen to yourself. I don't know that pushing yourself and forcing yourself to read this is really going to change your mind on how you feel about it after a specific amount of time reading this book. This is a very specific type of voice. It's a very specific type of writing. It's a very specific kind of story. And I totally understand if it isn't for you. This is not going to be for a lot of people, but if it is for you, like it is for me, it's so good. I really, really liked this. I'm very happy to have another sci-fi 5-star for this year. So that is everything that I read in May. Very happy with my reading in May. It has been very good, except for my biggest disappointment of the year. And like, that's so, like, it is going to be my biggest disappointment of the year, because I had such high hopes for the Ilona Andrews. I did. I had such high hopes. So being disappointed by it means the disappointment is so vast. Anyways, let me know what the best thing you read in May was. Let me know what you think about any of the books I read. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye.